The hospital lights were the kind of white that made everything look both too sharp and too far away. September 30th, 2023, 10:22 p.m., and I was sitting on waxed paper in Bay 4, giving my statement to Officer Mendez while a nurse cataloged bruises. Left cheekbone swelling, right ribs, tenderness on palpation, defensive wounds on both forearms. Mendez kept his pen steady, but his jaw tightened when I got to the part where my mother said I brought it on myself. "Your stepfather did this because you wouldn't co-sign a loan?" I nodded. My phone sat between us, photos time-stamped 2134, purple blooming across my face, knuckle marks still visible on my neck. Mendez looked at the screen for a long time. "We're filing charges tonight." I should have seen it coming years ago. Rick moved in when I was 14. My mom, Karen, had been single for 3 years, and he seemed stable at first. Manager at a car dealership, clean apartment, polite. The cracks showed within 6 months. Overdraft notices, payday loans, a repossessed truck. Karen covered for him constantly, dipping into her savings, then mine, my birthday money, graduation checks. By the time I turned 18, I'd opened my own bank account at a different institution and kept the statements locked in my car. I spent my early 20s doing the opposite of everything Rick did. Paid my credit card in full every month, kept utilization below 30%. My score hit 724 by age 23. Rick noticed. August 12, 2023, the first text. "Can we talk about a business opportunity?" I was 24, working in medical billing, finally saving for my own place. August 19th. "Just need a small favor, family helps family." August 24th. "Your mom thinks you'd be perfect for this." I didn't know until later, until I pulled my credit report during the police investigation, that Karen had requested my report on September 14th, 2023, 2 weeks before Rick made the official ask. Request ID. CRR 2023-09-147788, requested by Karen L. Hayes. Soft inquiry. Legal because I still had her listed as an authorized user on an old joint account from high school. She'd been researching my credit before they ever asked me. The question I should have held on to: why did she need to check first? That document, time-stamped, logged, quietly damning, told me this wasn't a spontaneous favor. It was a plan. And I walked right into the room when they called. September 18th, 2023. Karen invited me to dinner. Just the 3 of us, nothing fancy. I knew the moment I sat down. Rick had printed out the application, $45,000, term loan, business name, Premier Auto Consulting LLC. He slid it across the table like a dessert menu. "Rick, this is it. This is the thing that's going to turn everything around. Mom, we just need a little help getting started. The bank says Rick's credit isn't strong enough on its own. Me, because he defaulted on 3 loans in the last 5 years. Rick, that was different. I was between jobs. This time I have clients lined up. Me, then they can invest. Mom, don't be cruel. Family helps family. Me. Co-signing means if you don't pay, I'm legally responsible for $45,000. Rick, you think I'd do that to you? Me, your bank does? I left the papers on the table. The air in that room tasted like something I'd been breathing my whole life. Expectation dressed up as love. Over the next 9 days, my phone became a weapon. September 20th, 11:52 a.m. Just think about it. September 23rd, so 7:30 a.m. You're really going to let us lose this opportunity? September 27th, 1843. Voicemail, 2 minutes 11 seconds. Karen's voice stretched thin, asking why I thought I was better than them. September 29th, 1512. Come by tonight. Let's talk like adults. I went because some part of me still believed I could explain my way to understanding. I was wrong. I arrived at 7 p.m. They were waiting in the living room, loan application on the coffee table again, this time with sticky notes flagged where I was supposed to sign. I said no, standing up. I'm not co-signing. I'm not discussing it again. I'm leaving. Rick stood faster. You selfish little... The first shove knocked me into the bookshelf. I remember the sound of my keys hitting the floor, the odd clarity of that small noise under his shouting. The second shove was harder. I tried to move toward the door. He grabbed my arm, wrenched me back. My cheek hit the doorframe. Then his fists. I don't know how long it lasted. Long enough for my ribs to light up. Long enough for me to curl my arms over my head. Long enough for my mother to stand 3 feet away and say nothing until he stopped. When he finally stepped back, breathing hard, I looked at her. She looked at the floor. "You brought this on yourself," she said. Quiet. Even. That's a tactic, I learned later, called DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. The person who just stood by while I was beaten denied Rick's responsibility, attacked my character, and repositioned him as the victim of my selfishness. I grabbed my keys, got to my car, sat in a parking lot 4 blocks away, and took photos. 2134, 2136, 2139. The bruises were already rising. I called the police at 2141. Case number PR 2023-8816, filed at 2247 after I gave my statement in the ER. Officer Mendez said this was the easy part. October 1st, 2023. I woke up in my apartment and couldn't lift my right arm above my shoulder. I'd taken the day off work. Spent the morning icing my ribs and staring at the police report on my phone. Officer Mendez had said follow-up would come within 72 hours. I couldn't just wait. At 9:37 a.m., I logged into Annual Credit Report. Gov and pulled all 3 reports. TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. That's where I found it. September 25th, 2023. Hard inquiry. Wells Fargo. Code WF8843. I'd never applied for anything with Wells Fargo. My stomach dropped in that specific way it does when you realize the betrayal was wider than you thought. Rick, or Karen, or both, had tried to open something in my name. They'd been testing the waters before the cosign ask, maybe trying to see if they could just do it without me. At 09:42 a.m. on October 2nd, I filed an initial fraud alert with Experian, case number FA11702. It auto-replicated to the other 2 bureaus within the hour. Then I froze all 3 reports, entering PINs I stored in a password manager Rick and Karen would never access. The freezes confirmed by email. TransUnion at 10:03, Equifax at 10:11, Experian at 10:18. October 3rd, 1417, I received an email from a victim advocate with the county DA's office. She introduced herself as Lisa Tran, gave me a direct line, and asked if I was willing to cooperate with the criminal case. I replied in 4 minutes. Sitting there, ribs still aching, I opened the credit report PDF again and scrolled back to September 14th. The soft inquiry, Karen's request, ID CRR 2023-09-14-7788. 11 days before the hard inquiry. 16 days before the dinner ambush. This was never a favor asked in good faith. This was a plan that failed, then escalated. And I had every receipt. October 9th, 2023, 1622. Detective Luis Orozco called. Badge number D1147. He asked if I could come in the next morning. I brought a folder. Inside, printed credit reports highlighted, screenshots of the text thread, September 12th through 29th, photos with metadata stamps, the fraud alert confirmation, a timeline I'd built in a spreadsheet, cross-referencing every request, every message, every bruise. October 10th, 10 a.m. We sat in a small interview room that smelled like burnt coffee. Detective Orozco. Walk me through the loan request. Me. September 18th. My stepfather, Rick Hayes, asked me to co-sign a $45,000 business loan. I refused. Over the next 11 days, he and my mother pressured me by text and voicemail. September 29th. I went to their house to make it clear I wouldn't change my mind. That's when he assaulted me. Detective Orozco. And you're saying there's more than just the assault. September 14th. My mother requested my credit report. I didn't authorize it. She used an old joint account I'd forgotten about. Here's the request ID. CRR 2023-09-147788. September 25th. Someone ran a hard inquiry on my credit through Wells Fargo without my permission. Code WF8843. I never applied for anything. Detective Orozco. You think they tried to open an account in your name? Me. I think when that failed, they moved to the cosign pressure. And when I still said no, he beat me. Orozco studied the timeline for a long time. Your mother pulled your report 4 days before he even texted you about the business opportunity. I nodded. That was the piece that turned my stomach every time I looked at it. She hadn't been a bystander swept up in Rick's chaos. She'd been scouting, planning. She knew my credit score before they ever asked, because she wanted to know if I was worth the manipulation. October 10th, 1438. Detective Orozco submitted the case to the DA. Case number CR 2023-9401. Charges: assault and battery, attempted identity fraud. October 12th, 1534. I stood in front of a judge for 6 minutes. I brought the same folder. The restraining order against Rick Hayes was granted on the record. Order number RO 2023-5518. Stay-away distance, 500 feet. Duration, 3 years. Karen wasn't named in the order, but she texted me that night. You're tearing this family apart. I replied with 2 lines. Case CR 2023-9401, Order RO 2023-5518. She didn't text again. January 22nd, 2024, Rick took a plea agreement. Guilty on the assault charge. 18 months probation, anger management, restitution for medical bills, $472.18, paid in full by February 15th. The fraud charge was dropped as part of the deal, but the credit bureaus didn't care. The freeze stayed. The alert stayed. The system I built held. The extended family found out in pieces. An aunt called in November. A cousin sent a Facebook message in December. Karen's version of events was predictable. I'd overreacted, destroyed Rick's future over a misunderstanding, refused to help when they needed me most. Classic DARVO, now in broadcast mode. I didn't argue. I sent one email, February 1st, 2024, to the family members who reached out. I was assaulted on September 30th, 2023, after refusing to co-sign a loan. A police report was filed. Case PR 2023-8816. A restraining order was granted. T 123-5518. Rick Hayes pleaded guilty. Case CR 2023-9401. I won't be discussing this further. I wish you well. Sent from a new email address they couldn't reply to. Karen tried 14 times between February and March to contact me. Texts, calls, emails, even a handwritten letter left on my car windshield. I logged every attempt in a spreadsheet, didn't respond to any. Rick's probation terms included anger management, 2 sessions per month for 18 months, and no contact with me, direct or indirect. His probation officer's name was on the plea agreement. Gerald Acosta, Department of Corrections, Case Supervisor. I never had to enforce it. Rick stayed away. Karen's friends, from what I heard through one neutral cousin, slowly stopped calling her. It turns out that when you tell people your daughter deserved to be beaten, some of them quietly step back. I didn't need to burn bridges. I just stopped maintaining them. March 1st, 2024. I signed a lease for a 1-bedroom apartment on the north side of town. Rent, $1,050 per month. 12-month term. My name only. The living room had a window that faced east. In the mornings, the light came in clean and warm, and I'd drink coffee on the floor. I hadn't bought furniture yet, and feel the absence of waiting for the next crisis. April 2024, I pulled my credit report again. The freeze was still active. The fraud alert still in place, and my score, despite everything, had climbed to 732. No missed payments, no co-signed disasters, just my name, my work, my steady proof that I could build something they couldn't tear down. The restraining order's final term, September 30th, 2026. 2.5 years from now. By then, I'll be 27. Maybe I'll renew it. Maybe I won't need to. I don't think about Rick much anymore. When I do, it's not with anger. It's with the same feeling I get looking at old photographs of a house I used to live in. Recognition, but no longing. Karen still doesn't have my number. The family members who believed her version stopped reaching out by spring. The ones who didn't, 2 cousins, 1 aunt, send birthday texts. I reply, briefly, kindly. I don't need vindication tours or public reckonings. I have case numbers. I have a lease. I have mornings full of light. I built a life they can't sign for,